Selectmen.
Bill Marquette, Selectman.
Dave Gallup, resident.
Bill Krajewski, I'm the assessor.
Deb Tangway, Town Clerk.
Ned Connell, Town Administrator.
Kate Fletcher, Assessing Clerk and Delinquent Tax Collector.
Amanda Carlson, former Town Administrator.
Rory
Mike
Merritt.
Krajewski, assessor.
Rory Merritt. Rory Merritt, resident.
Brian Carroll, stringer reporter for the Chronicle.
Sue,
Susan Kelly Harkey, resident.
and Martha.
Martha Sylvester, and I'm going to have to say I am the Coventry Fire District #1 clerk this evening.
Thank you, Martha. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to call Monday, January 18th meeting to order. Going to allow for public comment.
I have a public comment.
Go ahead, Martha.
So, in honor of Martin Luther King Jr.'s Day, I wanted to read a quote that I would like accurately quoted in the minutes. And the quote says, "We must learn to live together as brothers or perish together as fools." And I'd like that accurately reflected in the minutes. And my second public comment is, somebody just sent me a message on Facebook telling me that the agenda's date is not 2020, it's 2021. So I didn't catch it there.
Please amend that. Thank you. Yeah, we do not want to do 2020 again.
No, good Lord.
Any other public comment? Okay. Number 3, Assessor Bill Krajewski. Hi, Bill.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Good, good. How are you doing?
Good. We're doing well, thank you. I just wanted to take a couple of minutes of your time tonight. We're moving along in the reappraisal project. Everything has gone very well. We've done the best we can, but I think everybody knows that, you know, we have a real problem here, and that house inspections have been impossible because of this. Now, we've done a lot of different things to make sure that we're collecting information. So as an example, you've only got about 500 parcels in town in that vicinity that have improvements on them. And our guys, what we did a lot of information at door. So standing at social distancing and talking to taxpayers. By the way, I just got to say, people have been really, really good in the community. A lot of times you catch a lot of static, and it's been nice community work in. That's about all I can say. But people have been working with us, talking about what's inside the house. You know, we'll ask them number of bedrooms and bathrooms, what type of flooring, what type of heating system. So we've been able to collect information on this on over half of the homes in town, which is really unusual. Usually you don't get that good a response. But we're now left at that point where we've got, 250 or whatever the number is, 220 homes that we didn't have any conversation with the homeowner with. And we're not going to get inspections done. It's just not going to happen between now and the time we have to close this out. I mean, it would be close, but knowing that you have to finish this project by June the 4th, I believe we have to put a grievance notice out by. So it's unlikely that the COVID issue is going to lift before then. Awfully close, but unlikely that it will. So what we would like to do is that we're going to send out informational mailers to all of those people that we didn't get into the house, and we're going to ask them some basic questions. And a lot of it has to do with counts. How many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, what type of heating system do you have? Trying to verify information. So between a combination of what we get in returns on those, what you have in a prior record, and probably most importantly, or not most importantly is the information I get back from the taxpayer. But the second most is, we've been inside a lot of houses. We do this work, and I've been doing this work for, I don't want to date myself, way too many years. And we've done a lot of work here, but so we can look at a lot of houses and figure out what's going on. I may miss a half bath here and there, or we might get a bedroom count wrong, but we've got the basic square footage of the home. We understand what the lot is like. We see the outbuildings. We can get an idea of the quality and condition of the home pretty well. People who take care of their homes on the outside take care of them inside. And it works pretty well. We're not always going to get it right, but it's the best we're going to do for the moment. So I just wanted to make it clear to you that this is the step we're going to have to take to finish. When we go to informal hearings, we'll try to do some different things, because when we finish this up and we send out what we call an informal notice of value in May, people will be able to come in and meet with us, and we'll go through hearings. We're going to suggest they could bring in pictures of their house with them, or they can email them to us, because we've been able to do hearings, informal hearings. We did them in St. Johnsbury this past year, and you do them with social distancing and everybody watching out what they're doing, and it worked pretty well. Nobody got sick. Everything worked pretty well and stuff like that. Obviously, a lot of that's going to be up to you in terms of if we can get a building to do it and stuff. But the point is very simply, I think we can get through this and get it done. And I think it will be a good job. Is it as clean as if we got inspections? No, but it's not, as I say, if I have a forced hot water heating system inside a house and it was forced hot air, or I'm missing a half bathroom in a house, I don't want to, but if I am, that's not going to kill my value. I mean, if I'm at 160,000, 170,000 in an estimate, I think even inspection of the house is going to change that number that radically, unless you go inside the house and the house is really unfinished or heavily damaged or something like this. But we would expect people to come in and say things to us if in fact we've got it wrong. So I guess first of all, I'm sort of informing you, but second of all, I mean, if there's a problem with this, then we probably should know about it now, because we'd like to start out by sending out those letters relatively quickly and get the ball rolling and get this process moving along to finish. And I wanted you to be aware of it and listen to your concerns, so that we have an idea of what we might expect or not expect.
I appreciate the update, and what you just explained to us is exactly, kind of where I thought you were at, talking with Kate a few different times. Kate, do you have anything you want to share?
No, I just wanted to add that I agree with Bill, and that people have been extremely cooperative. We also have, in addition to the information that John has collected at the door from folks, a number of people that have sent emails and information regarding their property. And in addition to, I now also have a bank of sales from last year and this year that have some interior photographs. So I think between the fact that I think most people are going to be honest, and as well as down the road have a chance to grieve or disagree, I think it's the best we can do given the fact that we're in the middle of a pandemic. People have been very cooperative, very responsive, and I think people now know what we're doing and they're not suspicious about it. They understand the process.
So when
I have a question. Oops. I have
So
a question for Bill. Do you ever look into Zillow estimates and things like that? Just curious about that.
We look at things like that for gathering data. I'm not real fond of looking at it in terms of their valuations, mostly because their algorithm is a strange one. It wants to select properties to compare whether it really has true comparables or not. I'm not telling they're out to lunch when they do an estimate, but I do like to look at it if there's some sort of data about the house, particularly anything about number of bedrooms or bathrooms. And a lot of times there is information like that. And it's like anything else. We pay attention to everything we can get our hands on, but a lot of times you sort of do it with an understanding that it's someone's estimate based upon an algorithm that isn't public.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Bill, when do you suggest we get these cards out in the mail?
John has everything ready to go. My suggestion is that will likely go out, if not next week, then the week after at the latest, because we would really like to get it out, to start to collect the information, because one of our last steps is our property review, where we look at every single house one more time. It's a drive-by sort of a thing, but we want to have all the information we can possibly have in place before we take that, because that's kind of like the final. Okay, this is a good grade. This is depreciation that works. I think this value works. I've got the topography right. Okay, move on to the next house. So we like to have all that information in place. So we'd like to start reviewing likely right around March 1st. So we'd like to have these mailers back in by, certainly the end of February and stuff. So the quicker they go out, we've had some pretty good response on them. We just did this in Grafton and we sent out, I don't remember, Matt, was it 300 in that vicinity? No, excuse me. We sent them out to everybody because we had nothing to work with. We got a really good response on them.
Yeah, get an incredible response back there.
Close to 50%. It was, I think we're going to run the same thing here. All information works for us, and people are inherently honest. I know sometimes in this wacky world, we might look at it different, but people are inherently honest with what they send things back. I've found that in my career.
Can I add something in, Bill? I don't know if you have submitted an annual letter to Deb to go into the town report.
We did today.
Okay, I'm just wondering, did you mention any of that in there, just to give people a heads up if they don't see something, to contact you if they have anything to report or any changes or anything?
I'm gonna let Matt answer that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have it in front of me here. I can amend it with contact information specific there. I just emailed off to Select Board maybe a couple hours ago, just a proposal for something to go into the town report. And it does not include specific contact info, but if you want me to, I can certainly amend that and get you back with a few more specifics.
Well, I just thought even too, just a line saying, hey, if you haven't seen us, expect a mailer. Heads up, and if you don't receive it, please contact us, and just may catch those few people who, aren't paying attention or who don't get it or have a wrong mailing address.
Okay, yep, no, that sounds good. In terms of just updating the records that we have, and the first paragraph of what I sent off, it does include that we are going to be sending out data mailers to everybody, and that we just ask that people answer to the best of their ability, but I can put in a couple of more specifics on that.
Thanks.
Does anybody have any more questions for Bill or Matt?
What does that say, David? I think he just put up that he has 4 bedrooms and 3 baths.
Actually, I have just a request, Bill. I need to give you a call to discuss the church, the Coventry Congregational Church. So I'll give you a call sometime later this week, if that's okay.
That'd be absolutely fine. Be a good thing to do. Yeah, that's
Okay.
Yes, that's fine.
Thank you.
I'm probably going to make a motion to have Dave Gallup reach out to Bill and Matt and to discuss, because I'm not certain we're going to get our budget finalized tonight. So I'm going to make a motion that we're going to have David and maybe David Barlow work together on the budget, and they may need to contact you, Bill or Matt, and they'll have some questions.
It's not a problem. Sure.
No problem. So You okay with that, Phil?
I'm fine with it.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Are you done with us?
I think
Are you ready to leave?
we are. Thanks again.
Thank you. Thanks for listening. I really appreciate your cooperation on this. Have a good evening, everybody.
It's nice seeing you. Bye.
Nice to see
Hey,
you too.
thank you
Take
all.
care.
Okay, moving on. Coventry Fire District.
Hi, so I want to start off first by apologizing. I had every intention on presenting what I needed to discuss and have a game plan like I normally do. But I'll just give you a brief brush over of what I need to talk about further down the road. And just kind of open it up for any questions you may have for me to start a line of communication about the fire district. First, I want to say that we are down a prudential committee member, and I am authorized through previous minutes to ask for an appointment. I do not have a person to present to you. I'm actually kind of at a loss of how to go forward with that. So I'm kind of glad Amanda's here, and I'm kind of looking for a little bit of guidance from everybody. When we held our last election, it was already too late to add that position into the election. When we only had 16 out of the 85 voters cast ballots in our election, and we had an 8-way tie for the delinquent water rent collector. And only 2 out of them 8 people were interested in serving any office in the fire district. So the participation is an issue. I don't know, the fire district is restructuring as well as going through some major audit issues right now. And we have been functionally bankrupt for 5 years that we know of. So that puts a lot of restrictions on how to reach out to the public, and spending more money is when I don't know what I'm going to get back is kind of I'm not eligible for any kind of COVID relief. The fire district isn't eligible because our audit wasn't completed on time. So we are delinquent in the clearinghouse and not even eligible for COVID relief money, state monies, federal monies, until we figure the audit issues out. So it's a lot of compounded issues that go to the very heart of now currently only having 2 board members and the recent resignation of our treasurer. So I'm kind of looking for a little bit of guidance of how you would suggest we go about replacing the 3rd Prudential Committee member. We've always just gone to you with, hey, you know, these are the people we think, and give a suggestion, but I don't have a suggestion. I reached out to 5 people, and every one of them was no.
What I would suggest for the board is to send out postcards to everybody in the fire district, asking them to contact Ned for the board if they're interested in the position.
Yes.
I think that's what we did, you know, a couple of times as we sent those out. And so I think that's what the board should do in this case.
I agree.
Who's the 2 current ones? Is Dom and Rory?
Yeah, and Dom is currently serving as the chair. And I was just at our last meeting appointed the interim treasurer. So I'm the clerk / interim treasurer for 60 days.
So on the treasurer part, does that need to be appointed too, or is that from?
The Prudential Committee has the power to appoint a treasurer.
Okay.
Or put water in collector, but they don't have the power. I don't understand it either. So, but they don't have the power to appoint a Prudential Committee member.
Okay. I think the cards down are good at the best way to go.
So Amanda, last time you purchased the cards, mailed them all out, the whole 9 yards. I just gave you my voter checklist. Is that what you want me to do? Give Ned the checklist, or?
Yeah, correct. Since the board is making the appointment, it's up to the board to incur the costs for doing that mailer. So I would get the checklist to Ned, and then, you know, maybe work with him on kind of what you want to put on the postcard, and send that out. I don't think it would hurt to note on there if you're interested in, you know, the treasurer position, maybe contact, but you guys can work that out and then send those out. I'd set the deadline, you know, for a couple of weeks, and then for, so that Ned has them before the next board meeting. If you get those out the next day or two, that gives them a good 10 days to respond.
Okay. And, go ahead.
Quick question on the, what'd you say you had a two-way tie on the delinquent tax collector?
I had an 8-way tie. I had 8 write-ins.
Yeah, but you only have 2 that are interested, right?
I only had 2 people out of the 8 people that were interested in participating in any fire district business. And one of them was already currently serving, so she bowed out to the other person, which is Joy Merritt.
Is who? Joy?
Yeah.
So Joy is in or no?
She's in, yeah, she accepted the position.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the Secretary of State told me that if I could, if I only had one person that was willing to serve and there was no tie, that I didn't have to hold another whole entire election for a revote.
Yeah, okay.
And
I didn't know if we had to appoint that too, but you don't have to. It's just a prudential committee.
yeah, no, the position's already there. The voters actually, the other 7 declined the position.
Hey,
And so we're okay with that. I will get another voter checklist and set up some time with him tomorrow to work on that.
Martha, write up some text before you come in of what you want on the postcard.
Yep, I'll email something to you.
And I'm very busy learning this thing, so you may want to hold off a day or two and give me a little bit of a break.
You might find in the files, Ned, you might find the previous one, the previous postcard. You can just change the date.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Amanda. And so the second thing I wanted to discuss was the shared services contract, but it's not called a shared services contract. I think we amended it to a shared office space contract. I didn't get the opportunity to pull this before our last meeting, the fire district's last meeting, as we had 2 attorneys come to our meeting. So that kind of took priority over everything else. But I would like to readdress this with my board and then bring it back to your board once my board agrees that that's what we're looking for. I'm just going to present the same one we currently have, unless you guys can think of anything you'd like to adjust on it.
I personally, there must be a copy of that somewhere, right? That I can get, because I don't think I've seen it since that happened before I was on.
Well, we only have a 6-month blank contract, so I think you actually might have signed that one. So
Yeah, maybe I did, and
yeah, it's okay. I can get it to you. I just didn't. I've been avoiding the office. So going in only what I need. Like I went in today and grabbed a whole bunch of my files and took them home so I can do my research here. So I will get that to you.
thank you.
And then that's pretty much all I have right now. And I'd answer any questions that you guys may have so we can start opening a dialogue.
Martha, there hasn't been a bill from the town of Coventry for the shared services contract in a number of months, so you might want to also look into that.
just mailed you one.
Oh,
But thanks for
Okay.
the reminder, Kate.
you're welcome.
Bill's in the mail. It had to go to White River Junction. It'll be back sometime.
Anything else, Martha?
Nope, just making sure you guys didn't have any questions for me.
No, I don't have any at this time. We'll wait to see what comes back on those postcards and we'll go from there.
And so when we discuss the postcard thing, I'll try to have my board already have their part of the contract approved and signed for you to present to you. We will be holding a few more frequent work meetings to push through some of the issues.
Okay.
I actually did find the postcard from last year, almost the exact same dates. It'll be relatively straightforward to change.
Thanks, Ed.
Okay, moving on, finalizing 2022 budget.
I actually have a couple of budget questions when you call on me.
Okay. You gonna start, Amanda or Dave?
Well, I know there's been some question on kind of the year-end totals and just verifying with the auditor before that's put on the warning. So I think the most important question for Deb is when's the absolute last day they can make approval on those numbers?
That's going to be coming up. And I need to have, the ballots need to be into the printers, the sooner the better, because of the allotment of everybody else's ballots. We need to make sure we get those back in a timely manner. I need to wait until all consent of candidate forms are received by January 25th. So I would say definitely January 25th should be your cutoff date. To post the warning, the earliest is January 21st, but we have until January 31st. That is the latest that the warning can be posted. So my intent would be, I believe January 25th may be a Monday.
It is, it's
I
next
think.
Monday.
So for me, it would be the 27th when I return back to the town. If there's no other consent forms, then technically what I have for data is going off to the ballots to be printed. So I would want everything on the 25th so that I can have all articles, everything set. The only thing I'm going to have to adjust that Wednesday morning is if I have any additional candidate forms that I need to add to the ballot.
So then I would recommend to the board, I know from my conversations, and I don't want to speak for David Barlow, but there was some just making sure everything is, the way it should be, is that the board hold a special meeting next Monday. And that gives a little bit of breathing room to finalize everything. And then you can have that to Deb, for when she comes in Wednesday morning.
Okay, it should,
Okay, but well, I think I can give you some preliminary numbers tonight with some caveats that we probably need to write, or maybe make some preliminary decisions tonight about amounts to allocate to each fund. So I can get writing, and we can get writing, but and then finalize that with the auditor, hopefully before Monday, next Monday.
So do you know what the total balance is after fiscal year 20?
We don't, nothing that I can claim is audited, and I think Nathan the auditor would not claim that either. We've had a number of conversations with him. It looks like it might be about 950K that we could program. But I wouldn't want to do that tonight and feel real comfortable with that. There's some remaining things that we need to iron out, and there are definitely going to be adjustments. I think we have the major items. He thinks we have the major items, but we need to have a lot of things that are due to him still. And I think I can get most of that to him before next Monday, but that doesn't leave him much time churn it either. So, but it looks, I would say, in a sense, similar to last year, which is not terribly surprising. There's no real surprise there. It's about the number we'd expect. But I'm not confident, I would say, to the nearest 100,000 at this point. I'd want to have that auditor seal of approval. He's about, I would say, about 95% of the way there. But so we're good to go ahead and make decisions in terms of writing the articles, but and how you'd like to parse it up. But he also Nathan also added that, it's not required that we absolutely move around all that money. You can leave in the general fund, leave stuff in the general fund as well. There's no statutory requirement to clean out every last cent and do something. So we're, I think, well postured, but a little more work required. So any questions? And I'll leave it to you guys to.
But I think it would be nice to have it in the right funds, and have it voted on for town meeting instead of having to ask for a special.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely preferable. The fact is, I'm not going to move money we don't have. I won't bounce any checks. That's just not going to happen. So it's better to make the decisions and then bide time to actually execute rather than not make a decision that you wish that you had. So over.
So you're thinking the 950,000, if things change, what's the up down number that might be? Are we talking 500,000, a couple hundred, 50,000? Don't know.
I'd want to be at the 100,000, less, not more.
I didn't want to have a 500,000 come out of there.
Yeah, it's not going up.
Aw.
But and I'm happy to proceed with you guys thinking about how to parse up the 950. Just with the understanding that I may have to come back to you next week and say, yeah, it really was a little bit less than that. It's highly unlikely it's going to be any more, but
yep.
There could be some adjustments I have to see. Over.
Do we want the final number before we make decisions on where to put it, or come up with a thought process?
Did we want to authorize David to work with David and
Yeah, that's probably
Ed this week on the budget? And maybe we can. Well, we can't have a meeting. We can have a meeting next Monday if they get they get some work done on it. David, and Ned, and then Ned, you could email us, back and forth what's going on, and we can, give our input, and maybe for next Monday we can be ready to approve the budget.
yeah, I think that's good. David's more around than either two of us.
When's a good time for you, David? Friday?
I'm going to be in Wednesday. I can be in any day but Thursday. So.
All right.
You know when you're gonna have the numbers from, Nathan?
Yeah. Be burning the midnight oil. I mean, he's a taskmaster. I got some stuff to crank out for him. I don't think I'm gonna have. I don't know that he's even gonna. I don't know. I think it's gonna be Monday morning before we're.
For sure.
Much super certain.
Well, I think if you guys work the numbers, and put the supposed funds in the appropriate places, and then we'll know which fund we can not put if we're shortage or that we're off. If we're off by X dollars, it can just come out of the one or two places, but the rest of the budget can be done.
Yeah, I think we can proceed with that. Fairly straightforward.
So
We
I'm
have
assuming was that a motion that Scott was making? If not, I'll make the motion to let David work with Ned and David to work on the final numbers of the budget to bring to the next meeting.
Second. So at this time, I guess tonight we won't do anything with it. We're gonna just leave it off there. Do you have any questions, David? Is there anything we could answer or work through that'll make it smoother or quicker or easier?
If there's any particular expectation about any particular fund, that would be useful to know. We've already discussed the need to replenish the roads infrastructure and equipment fund. And my general desire to fund the investment fund, but that's, other than that, we have the reappraisal fund, and I wish I had that number in front of me right now, where it's at. We'll need to take a look at that and see if we're going to get to the finish line. But I think we probably will. That was fairly robust. But if there's any other of the funds in there that have a particular interest, it would be useful to know. Other than that, we'll look at it all anyway. So
I think after reviewing it, I think all the other accounts, right, Amanda, were in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I definitely think the buildings and maintenance was fine. I thought the reappraisal was fine, but I don't know how, with it getting in full charge, if there's been some coming out, that would be the only one I'd be concerned about. Other than that, just roads and long-term investments.
And the long-term investments we were gonna change, right, this year from what we've done in the past?
That's going forward. So first, you're going to be voting on it twice in 1 year. So you're going to vote on what you had left over from fiscal year 20, but then this year you're working a predetermined amount into fiscal year 22 budget. So you're going to have to be ready to kind of explain that it's not really kind of double dipping. You're doing it on 2 different fiscal years.
Just because one, we're voting on the extras of the previous, and now we're voting on putting it in so that it's budgeted.
Yes.
yeah, it's essentially changing the way that we're doing the investment account, making it less of a afterthought and making it a first thought kind of thing. That it ups, in a sense, ups the importance of it. And pay yourself first, kind of a well-known investment technique. The risk, however, is that in the past we have bulldozed all the leftover money into the investment fund on occasion, which has been good for the investment fund. So there may be in the future probably opportunities to do the same thing, and that may require some explanation.
Doesn't mean it
Depends
can't
on-
be put on as a article like we've done in the past as an extra, right?
It doesn't mean you couldn't, no, because the articles are redistributing leftover money this year from fiscal year 20. And then the budget vote is for fiscal year 22. So absent from that entire discussion is fiscal year 21, the year we're in right now. In future years, you could kind of follow the same path. I mean, I don't mean to make a mountain out of a molehill, it's not, but the kind of the overall impact of putting it in the budget is upping the importance of consistently funding it.
Right.
It's always good to put it more in than less. It's always good.
Okay. Well, I guess you guys will reach out to each other and set a time and get cracking, and then next Monday we can have a meeting at 6 o'clock and we can finalize it.
Works for me. Thank you.
You guys just let me know. Ned and David, just reach out to me.
Okay.
So can I ask some questions about the budget numbers? The proposed budget numbers that Deb sent me?
Sure, Martha, sure.
Okay, so I didn't see, and I'm also gonna be hitting some planning commission issues. I'm not speaking on behalf of the planning commission, as I just brought this up at our last meeting, and they didn't realize we had control over our own budget. So I apologize for that one. In the economic development study, we delegated $100,000 through a question, right? That was a question.
That was
How do we
put
answer-
into an account.
Yeah, it was put into a savings account for projects directly related to the economic development plan. So there's, I think it's 150,000, isn't it? Yeah,
I think so. I didn't see it replenished. So I'm wondering, are we gonna do the economic development plan and add another 100 to the 2020 budget, or?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the savings accounts
I'm
don't
curious,
show up in the
because
budget, right?
the planning commission is working on the economic development plan. Some of the stuff is already written out. So I'm just wondering, are we gonna continue to fund this plan, or?
Martha, are you talking about the economic development plan line item in the budget? That's what you're talking about, correct? It's at 0 for this year? Or for 22?
Right, so I have like no idea,
So they,
you know,
that 150,000 is not a line item in the budget, correct, Amanda or David?
Yeah, so there was, the line item that you see in the budget was for the actual plan. And so that phased out, obviously, you finished paying for that last year. But there was, last year you voted 150 to go into a savings account. So that's not part of the regular budget. So you're just not seeing that one, Martha. But there is that money set aside for these projects for the planning commission to come and say, you know, hey, we want to implement this or start this, and that money's there. You can request that the board, you know, we were just talking about that 950-ish that's sitting. If you think that fund should be increased, then the board can vote to have some of that put in that savings account. That can be one of the ones that can be topped up. But right now, does anybody, I don't have the balance of that account. I actually thought there were 2 appropriations to that account, but there
I
may
think
have
there's more than 150.
Yeah,
Barlow, do
I
you
thought
know?
there was 150 and then 100, and there were 2 separate votes because we had quite a bit.
Just a
But
second, I'll look it up.
okay. So there
Well,
is money.
the plan actually, Amanda, says that every year, it says, it would be important to maintain the fund of 100,000, replenishing it each year as funds are drawn out to support various efforts. But my question is, we have the church monies in with the economic development according to the economic development plan. So I'm wondering if we want to put church funds in this plan, or how are we tackling that issue? Because it says on page 16 of the economic development plan, it literally says 50,000 to begin the estimated 100 of the work required to maintain the Coventry Church.
So right now, David just confirmed that there's 252,000 in the economic development plan that hasn't been spent. Now the board has discussed the church, and once they own that, the renovations would be coming out of the buildings and maintenance fund. The economic development plan was more for programs to help the residents in the village and, you know, reaching out, not for the actual structural costs of the church. So those are 2 different funds it's coming from. So that 250, if, you know, the board wants to add to that, otherwise, you know, they can wait until some of it is spent and used and what it's being used for before they top it up yearly. I think the comment about topping it up yearly was with the intention that some of it would be spent. And just because of COVID and everything else, nothing really got spent because there's only so much you can do. So the money is sitting there.
So that being, say that money's sitting there, but we have no budget for that money. So how does that work? If the planning commission does present a project, do all those funds, if any funds that are going to be withdrawn, do we have to give approval to them?
No, you give approval to spend the money. So the savings accounts are under your jurisdiction, like you have the authority to spend that money. So either if you get approached from, someone else, or you implement an economic development project, you can fund it from there. But the main source of it was intended for the planning commission to come and say, hey, we want to do this. We would like $30,000 to implement this program. And then you would expend the money from that account. So that's under your control, that $250,000.
Okay.
Does that answer your question, Martha?
Well, kind of. So I understand the village improvement plan, but if we're gonna forge forward and maintain hiring a full-time person to oversee the economic development plan and the village improvement plan and help homeowners get grants and stuff, I don't know, with 250,000, I suppose we wouldn't deplete that in 2 years because we wouldn't have added anything to the 2022 budget. So we would have to wait till the 2023 budget to replenish all of the economic development money. But I didn't realize there was 252 in there, so.
Technically, if I understand it right, that could be like if you went, hypothetically, if you went through 252,000 between now and next March, we can replenish that next March, correct?
Yes.
Well, you wouldn't have to have voter approval to do that?
Well, that would be on the next town, it would be on the next March's town meeting as an article, like we did last year, putting 100,000 into the economic development savings account. Because that's not part of the budget.
So that's why the economic development line is not in the budget.
That's why the economic development plan line is 0, and
Okay.
that savings account is that 250,000. Yes.
Perfect, so thank you. That's what I was not understanding. And then the other thing I had a question on was, did the board agree to increase the Orleans County Sheriff Department to 10,000?
That's where it's been, right?
Yeah,
I
this
think-
current fiscal year, it was at 10,000.
Yeah, and I think we decided that that was gonna be level funded. I think Jen approached us and she was embarrassed by the lack of hours she put in and decided to level fund us for this year. And she's doing a good job lately, putting in a lot of time and effort. And I'm pretty happy with her decision to do that.
I will say in the AP that I just got from Deb, the hours for, is this a month or a quarter? Deb,
Those are per month,
was what, 25?
25, 44.
Yep.
Which is considerably higher than what the last couple of
Yeah.
months have been.
Yeah, so
I know,
They've
I
been
know
doing a
I've
lot
seen
more
them sitting
patrolling.
down at the corner of 5 and 14, but
I have a couple times too. I've also seen them on the airport road, but we did specifically state that we don't want them patrolling 5 and 14.
Yeah.
Know if she had forgotten that.
and the
And
report
so
that we
this-
get for the hours, it doesn't show where, it just gives who and the time. And then if there's traffic, I think is the other one.
Yeah. Like I said, I think she's doing a pretty good job. I think she's trying. I liked her honesty. When she approached us with the increase. And I feel good right now about it. And I was happy with her level funding it, and I was happy to see out there.
So with the level funding, does that give us room if we wanted to have, when we're able to have the festival and stuff? We had talked about having extra patrols and everything. Would that give us leeway in that amount? Is kind of where I was going with that budget number.
We could fund it through the event.
Yeah, that would be the thought, I think.
Okay.
I said 25 hours, it was 49 hours.
I do think we should
Okay.
reach out. I do think we should reach out to her about the
State highways.
Route 5 again.
Ned, you want to
Well,
write?
maybe between 7 and 8 down there by the school wouldn't be a bad idea. But I don't want to see a lot of time on 5 or 14.
Ned, is that something you can,
Want to reach out to her?
and do you understand?
Yes, I
Okay.
understand. And yeah, I will reach out to them and remind them, please do not patrol the state highways.
On our dime.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, moving on. Number 6, review 2021 annual town meeting warning.
So Deb, is the budget really only going up 0.6%?
Over at the school, yes.
Okay. I remember the last meeting, I know I missed the last one, but I remember the last one was a lot higher than that.
It was, they actually had 3 different budgets at the last meeting. One actually was almost up to almost 12%. And so they had 3 different variations. This was the bottom of the variation. So they chose to go with this one. So this was the cheapest that they could come up with that would still be able to provide the services that they needed to provide to the school, but yet not have a lot of extras built in there.
So obviously you can't approve the warning until you approve the budget. So you're gonna have to do that next week.
Oh,
So-
one of the other things was the appropriations. I think we need to list all the appropriations, but we can just put a yes or no for a sum amount at the bottom. I think they all need to be listed.
That's fine. There's a lot of people who do it differently, where they just do it as one sentence, and then within your annual report, you have it broken down as far as what they consist of, sort of like a summary page. And then you have all of the service agency reports that you put right after that. My only concern was not knowing how many articles you were going to have on the ballot to make sure we were going to have room on the ballot. If you come back and say, hey, we're only going to have 12 articles total, then you know what, that's fine. We can go ahead and we can list all of the service agencies on the ballot. But if you're going to come back with 25 different articles, then I would suggest not listing all the service agencies on the ballot and just doing the summary sheet, just to save room on the ballot to make sure it's just one ballot.
I don't know, is there something, they're gonna have like 5. Where are you getting 12 and 24 from? You're making me nervous. I'm like,
No, I'm just saying, I don't know how many they're gonna have, but I mean, if it's, I mean, you've got your few, and then depend on what they do with the budget and when those figures,
yeah,
that's perfectly fine. It's gonna be a small amount. Absolutely, we can go ahead and we can list those service agencies in here, but if you guys were gonna come back and give me like 20 different articles, and it was gonna be like, yeah, no. We need to condense it.
She has 5 spares built into there, so.
That's all you're allotted.
General fund, road fund, and then you have, you know, whatever you're doing to your savings and investments. That's pretty much what you're looking at. So you shouldn't have more than that. What did the town foundation request? Is their request separate on there?
Has there been a request?
I know we're having our meeting tomorrow night. I think that's on the agenda for Leo to discuss whether they will be sending that request for a town meeting or if it will be sent at a later time. But that's the extent.
You do your meeting Zoom?
Yep.
The foundation Zoom?
Yep.
Could you send me the link and what time it is? I'd like to probably attend.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll let Leo know that.
Okay.
So question, because I thought this came up previously. You put in maybe doing the community maritime as a separate line item. We can do appropriations separately like that? I thought I had heard in one of our previous meetings that they either had to be completely separated each other or all the same article. Was I hearing things? Amanda?
That I
Sorry, say that
honestly,
again?
So Memphremagog Community Maritime asked for appropriation of $10,000.
Yeah.
Deb was asking if we should put that as a separate line item or a separate article, which makes sense to me, but I thought I had remembered a discussion prior that the appropriations for that type of thing was either
You can,
one or the
you
other.
can put them separate. You can put
Okay.
all the smaller ones in one article and then put, like, if you have a 10,000 and the bigger ones, then you can put those in separate articles.
Okay.
I thought with it being 10,000, I
Yep,
did
no.
not want because this is going to be going on the ballot, has an all or nothing. I
Yep.
did not want that to be a breaking point for all the others being that large amount. I thought it should have its own line item with
Makes
your
sense.
approval.
Something for you, Deb, that I'm wondering is you have the Vermont Symphony Orchestra Symphony Kids program as new. I'm wondering if that is actually what last year's was of the North Country Friends of Vermont Symphony Orchestra. The same amount.
It's the same amount, but it was a different name. So
Okay.
I put new next to it.
Okay. I was just curious.
So unless maybe they've changed the name, that very well could be, I don't know, but it did not match up to an existing one. So I did put new after it.
Okay.
Is there some way you can just read what you already have for the warning questions? If you only have 5, I'm curious.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. The 5 we were referring to is what the board is, we're estimating is going to be providing. So Deb has a draft warning made up with just the election of officers and the appropriations. What she needs from the board is what the board is asking the voters to vote on for general fund, highway fund, and then all of the extra monies that we were just talking about from last year. So we're thinking that's about 5 questions. But right now, the warning is just the election of officers and the appropriations.
So the board officially decided they weren't going to put the opt-in for the retail cannabis on the warning?
I didn't understand that.
No, the retail cannabis question, I thought that was turned down. I thought that was turned down.
Yeah.
So my point being is that I got my letter that said that I needed my signatures and everything in on the day of the deadline, which was the 14th. So I get that, and whatever the board decides is what the board decides. I just, again, find that it's a little discouraging to have to fight with the board to get questions and get information and everything. It's quite disheartening, and not having the time to be able to do that is even more disheartening. So
I thought at the prior meeting, the board had suggested, I think that was at the point where the board had suggested for you to go out and to get these signatures in order to place it onto the warning. I thought
Yeah.
that's what the outcome was.
Yes, we turned it down and requested a petition.
And that was at the December meeting or the January 4th meeting?
It was the meeting she brought it up at.
It was December, right?
in the minutes of the meeting.
It's in the minutes.
Okay, because I had a reporter call me again and ask me what that was. So if I wasn't clear on it and the reporter wasn't clear on it, then I guess it is what it is. So I'll leave it with that again. So I kind of want to know what all of the articles are. And again, this goes to the heart of transparency and having a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. It's important to be able to do that. And if we're holding meetings remotely, and we have to wear masks and everything else. It kind of looked kind of silly to your 911 emergency coordinator to tell people they have to go out and get signatures for a petition.
I'll
But
just
they
say
can't
I
hold
wasn't
up.
the one that said that.
No, I'm saying that, me as myself.
I know. I
Doesn't make,
won in agreement for what you were trying to do.
well, it's just really hard to like understand what's going on, and it's hard to reiterate that to other people when you don't understand yourself. So I just have a lot of concerns, and I have, I really have a lot of concerns about the stress that it puts on the elected officials in this town too.
Could I, do you mind if I kind of respond to that? I don't think there's any intent from anybody here to hide anything on this. Everybody, the select board, the clerk, the treasurer, everybody, we're in a really unique situation where for the first time, our town is going to Australian ballot, where they're in the transition of a new town administrator. Deb's trying to figure out the rules, trying to figure out how to get these to everybody. The board's trying to figure out how to do all this remotely, how to get to everybody. So I really don't believe anybody's hiding information or trying to do anything with the public. It's just confusing for everybody. Everybody's trying to find their way on how to do this all. So I'm sorry if you were confused on the cannabis article. I understood from the meeting that it was turned down. But other than that, I don't think there was any intent to hide the warning or any other information. It's just confusing because we've never done it this way. We've never had these timelines or this way of doing it.
So I would reiterate that I'm not trying to be the enemy here. I'm trying to have transparency above all else. When we're trying to rebuild our town and bring everybody together, it's extremely hard to do that when we're not all on the same page. We're not all, transparent. It's extremely transparent. That's just like I just got the meeting minutes of the last meeting. I have missed several of them. I have no idea what the heck was talked about. People discussed, I get that, but what people discussed, what was said. This is important. It's important to bring transparency and know the chaos. And I get that. I'm completely with everybody on this. I'm not trying to point fingers at anybody. I'm trying to get us all to work together to move forward. And transparency is key to democracy. That's what makes the public feel like they can participate. That's what makes them feel connected. That's all I'm trying to say. The same thing I've been trying to say for 1.5 years now.
Well, I thought it was pretty transparent when we had the meeting and we turned down the motion that you understood. And I believe you even commented back to us that you were going to go and get your 35 signatures and you were going to, petition, bring it back with a petition. And then we didn't hear anything from you at all. So I was just waiting to see when the petition came. So no one's trying to hide anything from you, Martha.
Okay, so the petition part is you're kind of crossing these two together. So the petition part, if our public building is not open for public business, why would you ask a resident to go knock on their neighbor's door during a pandemic? Least of all, when you're in a strike. That makes absolutely no sense to me in any way, shape, or form. That is what I'm saying. And secondly, we talked about needing these articles and needing all of this stuff back in November. So information could have been provided, dates could have been ahead of time to give the public the ability to participate. That's what I'm talking about, the ability for the public to participate. Transparency is key.
Do you have any other comments, Martha?
No, but I do have a couple of things to say under other business.
Thank you.
Now I have just a couple other things. You'll notice that the grand juror and the town agent positions are not listed underneath Article 9. That is because per state legislation, those two positions have been eliminated. So they no longer need to be voted. But the select board does have the jurisdiction, if you would like, for the grand juror. You may go ahead and appoint that person if you would like. I just want the board to be aware of that. If that's something you want to do, then make sure you let Ned know for when you have your reconvening meeting. If you do want to appoint that person, you do have that capability. But as far as the election goes, grand juror and town agent is now off the list at this point in time, effective July 2020.
That's why they did that?
Yeah.
Why they did
Why-
it?
I don't know
did
why
they
they
do
did that, but but they
Because
did.
it's an appointment that nobody ever did anything with.
Yeah.
It was just appoint the person, but nobody even knew what the position was.
Well, I was just gonna ask that, so.
Tell them what it is, Amanda.
What? Oh, isn't that the one we found out it's a town snitch?
Yes.
Yeah. It basically says in the description that anything they see wrongdoing in the town, they report to the legal authorities. So it's a nice way of saying it's the town snitch.
Good to know. And that was always Pat, right?
Yes. Well, he was one. He was the town agent.
Oh, I'm getting them mixed up.
Was Owen Ballinger, which we never saw him, so.
Yep.
You have anything else, Deb?
No, I do believe that is it. I don't know if this goes underneath this or not, sort of maybe. Just to let you know that the school board is on board with going back in with your 3 informational meetings. So just so that you'll be aware, I did tell them that we would go ahead and we would probably initiate the meetings via Zoom. We'll go through and disperse all that information out. They were okay with the 3 different dates and the 3 different times that we had established for it. Just to let you be aware. But that's it for me.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yep.
Moving on, review draft policy on social services appropriation.
Oh, crap, where is that?
You gonna put it up on the screen, Phil?
Oh. Here, I'll make
One
you,
of us can. I can do it once I find it.
I'll make you the host so you can screen share.
Yep. Give me a moment. When was that? There it is. I can get it so everybody doesn't see my mess of windows. Screen share. Share. Is that the right one? That is the right one. How big is that?
That's good size.
Okay.
It's the wrong document, but it's good
Yeah.
size.
Are you sure it's the wrong document? Oh yeah, it is the wrong document, isn't it? I told you. How about this one? No? Son of a biscuit.
Yep.
I gotta,
Nope, that's looks like
I gotta close Windows because it's getting confused.
You want to send it to me and let me try it, Phil? Everybody ready for a text?
Okay, here, one more shot. Screen to social service appropriation share. How about now?
There you are.
Yep.
Okay, you tell me what you want to do and I'll do it. I know I read through and I had some notes. I don't know if anyone else did before I started my list of notes.
The only one I had, I think, was on the original document where he wanted to ask what the people were receiving money for. And I didn't think that would fly in any way, shape, or form, especially when you have medical stuff involved. But I think that must have got
Yeah.
taken out of there, huh? Because I didn't see it.
Yeah, that was amended out.
Okay.
So do I have the right one? Because I think that was one of the things I noted.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find it. And maybe we ought to, I don't know, have we brought this up in a previous meeting that what exactly this is for? Scott, do you want to just do a rundown for the people on the phone, on the, whatever we're on?
Or go ahead, Phil. You're out.
So this policy is, I don't know, would social services appropriation policy be the right thing? Because it's not necessarily all social services. I almost think maybe we ought to change it to appropriations policy. So this is a policy that we're looking to put into place for appropriations for anyone requesting an appropriation. And it includes things for what they need for the petition, which is normally what's gotten anyways, I believe. Oh, that's what I was, one question I was looking at. I think somebody might be able to explain it better than me. Amanda, you're looking confused.
No, I'm not looking confused. I'm just reading it. So I know kind of a rundown. The town, Coventry has always just accepted any appropriations request. The select board goes through the list. They decide what goes on the warning. Generally, they accept all of them. There has been some new ones that they have turned down. Other towns require a petition, which, signatures to get it put on the warning. So this is just switching not only to a petition system, but also just establishing the rules that, they have to provide more information. You can't not just the letter that goes into town report, but, backup documentation and verification of, what they're doing and what their association is. Did I get that all?
Plus, it's going to be seeking your financials and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
we
applies
haven't-
to all of them, everybody, right?
Everybody.
Yes.
Yes. So that, and it says you have the right to do it, not that they have to, or they have to submit the financials.
That's part of this down here. Required information.
Required, yeah. And most of them send it along. I know, Deb, you've been receiving them all, but I mean, a good chunk of them, I'd say a third of them automatically send their financial review.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the other ones will call and say, do you want it? And they will send it along. So I don't think it's gonna, change anything. They're kind of used to that. But that just gives you the backup on the money that the voters have sent out, that it's a legitimate
Organization.
nonprofit entity.
So that was one of the questions we've not had. Spit it out. We haven't required a petition in the past.
No.
No, and not that, my opinion matters. I don't work there anymore, but I don't, for a town that size, I don't like the petition. I mean, I think it's different for big cities when they're getting a lot of requests and they're getting a lot of, but I mean, you have the same basic ones every year. You may get one or two new ones every now and then. I think the petition just makes it harder for those, for the little amount of money that they're asking for. Some of them are like $200 or $300. I think putting them through the petition process is just completely unnecessary. I think board should be able to determine that. If it gets, crazy and all of a sudden you're going to like, $50,000 worth of appropriations, then I think you rethink this, that it's getting a little out of hand. But right now, I think that's overkill. I think just establishing a procedure that they have to have it in by a certain deadline date, not the day before Deb's sending in the town report, because some of them do that. And if you don't receive it by that date, you're not going to be on the warning, and that they have to provide the information that you request. And I think that's enough right now, personally.
I would agree with that. I
Yeah.
will note that in here, he did put if you did not have an appropriation the previous year, that would be the case. But if you did, the way I understand it is if you did have an appropriation the previous year, you don't need a petition. But I do agree with that. I think we're small enough and don't change
You
enough. I
can-
don't know if we need the petition in there.
No, you can make that determination. I mean, you get maybe one new one a year. So it's not like you're going through a whole bunch of new ones trying to decide what's on there. You kind of evaluate the one and make that decision. And I think leaving it in there, even though it says, for new ones, I think that just confuses people and they think they have to get it. And then they're,
Well, that was why I was asking the question, because I was a little confused too.
yeah, I just don't think at this point it's necessary. You just need to establish kind of a system of deadlines and procedures.
So we'll table this and put it on our agenda for our next Monday's meeting. We can rewrite. Ned, we'll have you, you and I will work with the last petitions part of this, and maybe talk to Brian and remove it or reword it and, or just reword it. And then we
Change
can.
that email address.
Yeah, I was gonna mention
Yes,
that.
that was one of my things too.
Yeah.
Now, I know there's a lot of other towns too, that any, like year to year, like Amanda says, you have the same ones who come through and they put through their request. If they're existing and if they're at the same dollar amount as prior year, then typically they don't go ahead and require to have the petition and some of that information. It's the ones who come in either brand new or they come in for an increased amount that triggers the additional information to be.
And that's how it's worded in here. So that's where I guess do we do it or do we not? Or just do it
Yeah,
the way
but-
we've been doing it?
You still have legally the right to do that. So say you take that out there and just say you say they have to have it by such and such a date. Once you have that on that date, if you guys say no, like anything else, you give them the option. If you want to force this on the warning, you can go and get a petition and present it to the board as long as you give them enough time. So it's not like they can't do that, but I think making it a requirement is a little bit, I don't think it's necessary.
Dad, you look like you had something to say.
Yeah, I would make it longer than 47 days. I would say, and I would suggest that we started our budget cycle much earlier, just so we're done earlier, and I would say by Christmas time. So I would say to the clerk, not less than, let's just say 90 days. I'm just guessing sometime that would make it in, let's just say mid-December, just so they have it in. If they want to petition for something, they have the time to go back out and do something. So I think putting them a little farther into December would be beneficial for everybody all the way around.
And this is something that once you folks go through and you approve it and sign it, then we can actually go ahead and send this with our appropriation checks to these companies this November so that they have this in advance and know what is required from them for their next request.
Yep. I did have a bunch of notes on all these bullets that I don't know if you want me to go through or give it to Ned and Ned can disseminate, and I don't know the best way to go about that.
Phil, I have your email and I
Yeah.
think we could just email it around.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get this prepared for the next meeting. So we'll put this on the agenda for next Monday.
I think this should actually be on not to next Monday, which is a special meeting, to a regular meeting. And because we're just going to be handing it out, to people when they get their check from the town meeting day. I would suggest that the first meeting in February is more than soon enough. It'll also give us time to do some edits on the in-between also.
Because this wouldn't fall into effect for this town meeting,
No,
right?
No.
Yeah, so.
No, yeah,
And the next appropriation checks won't be mailed out until usually it's the first AP in November.
So
Yes.
if we were to approve this, policy, and we, obviously we didn't require, the petition of anybody new, we reword the petition of it. I would think it could go could be in effect for all the appropriation, for this meeting.
Can it be after they made the request?
yeah, I think that's,
I would say no,
yeah, I would say no also.
especially like for the $10,000 request that we just received.
What did you
Yeah,
say,
there-
Amanda?
I said, I think it's definitely a Brian Monahan question.
All right, so let's ask Brian if this can be a effect for all the appropriations put on the warning. All right,
For
we'll
this
have it.
year?
I'd like to, I want to put this on the agenda for next week for discussion and possibly approval.
Okay,
Now I closed all of my windows. I don't know where we're at.
Okay. Moving on to the town administrator's report. That's you, Ned.
that's me. I put that mainly in there to act as just a placeholder. I think once our meetings get a little more straightened out and I get my feet underneath me firmly, at least, that I go through sort of just the list of, just the general complaints, general stuff, the mailings, things like that. Cause like there's we have to do the road mileage. That's something that's coming up. We have some stuff from Comcast that has some legal stuff in it and various other notices that I'd like to report to you. Probably take 5-10 minutes, go through the stuff pretty quickly and just, go over what's going on in town hall on a day-to-day basis, just so you're up to date and, fully informed.
So have you heard anything on the road mileage, Ned?
No, but I have the form here that we need to fill out.
Okay. And Amanda, did we end up doing a corrected one last year? I know we were a little bit late on that. Remember, we took those town roads off.
Right, I think that came into effect afterwards. I don't think it affected last year's road mileage. I think by the time you did it and it was approved, it should reflect on this one. You should be down 0.6 miles total?
Yeah, it was a very minimal amount. Last year, we gave up a bunch of basically driveways, Ned.
Yeah,
But just remind me when I look at that with you and I can go over it with you.
Okay.
All right.
Ned, I forwarded you an email because I know we both reached out to Sarah. Did you get that?
From Sarah?
I got an email back from Sarah that she updated the contact info and she sent me the credentials and it's my name on the contact info. I thought I forwarded that to you.
I don't recall this at all.
Okay, I will. You're talking about the mileage certificate, correct? Making sure I'm on the right one. Because you emailed Sarah that's what you're talking about, David, correct?
Yeah, she got me the credentials and I got in just fine.
Okay, that's what I was asking. Okay. Because I know we both reached out to her and I got the email, so I just wanted to make sure you had gotten set up.
It's all good.
Okay.
Anything else, Ned?
All done. Thank you.
All right. Other business.
I do have one other thing I forgot to state earlier. Just to let you know, the legislation did go through, of course, to be able to postpone town meeting, which we are not going to. But also for municipalities to mail ballots to all active voters. So I know we already, you folks already went and voted on that. I just want to let you know that that legislation did go through. I actually had someone who has been working in my office Friday and today, going through and getting all the envelopes labeled, set and ready, so that when the ballots come in, the ballots just need to go on the envelopes and then they can be mailed out. So that process is already intact and raring to go.
How many voters are there on your thing, Deb?
Total voters, we have about 806, but we have approximately like 47 who are challenged. So they're not technically active. So as far as our active mailing, it's going to consist about, I think the other day when I printed the labels, it was 761 residents.
All right.
So that's where we're at.
We may want to keep your assistant around to help labeling postcards, the postcard. For the
She goes back to college, so she won't be.
Sorry.
But Martha does a very good job in assistant.
Sorry, the envelopes and everything need to be done there, but Ned, postcards, if you send them to front desk with the Excel spreadsheet, they'll not only label them, they'll stamp them and mail them from there.
Yeah.
front desk?
Front desk in Newport.
Okay,
Deb can get you the contact information.
okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any other business?
I'd like to let everybody know that we completed the purchase of the Kimball property. We closed on that January 6th. A lot of help from Deb and Kristen, is it? From
Yep. Monahan.
I think this is a great purchase for the community. Happy for Barb. We're going to give her a lifetime lease so she can stay there as long as she's able to. And I just think down the road, it's going to be a great addition.
Good job, David.
Yeah, great job, David.
Thank you. Oh, one other thing. Ned, you been watching the little girl here run the meetings? Amanda?
I'm the little girl, apparently.
Ned?
Yes, I have been paying attention.
All right. You know, you got some big shoes to fill.
I have big feet.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up, not just in terms of ability, but Amanda really has some big feet.
Yeah, well, I prefer slip-ons myself. No, but she's done a great job, and everything on the computer is, with some amount of, a little bit of thought, I can usually find something, and everything's nice and neat and clean and other stuff. So it's, thank you, Amanda. I appreciate the ease of transition.
No problem. And I'm always here for questions. So.
Not from 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
We'll have to keep you on the payroll for a little while.
Yeah.
Any other business? All right, I guess we're gonna sign some orders.
So I guess I'll share again. See if I mess it up. There's not much.
No, it's pretty small.
Yep. Well, the last time you said it was small, there was a bunch on it, so. Where is it? You guys see it? Now it's small, isn't it?
Yep.
Yep.
No, that looks good.
Well, I can't see it, so I need to move it around. You can still see it, right?
I can blow it up. I can see it.
Okay, so she sent over AP for this week. The first one is Deb's on the phone. Why don't I let her go through it?
Well, the first one you're looking at right now is from the reserve accounts. We have two to Monahan. As you can see, one is for the church boundary. The other one is in regards to legal services for acquiring the Kimball property. And then we have our usual New England municipal consultants for reappraisal work that they are continually doing.
I
And
looked
those
through it,
total
everything matches.
$5,135.09.
The second one. I went through all these, I checked them off, I verified them. I didn't have any questions on them other than, like we noted, the sheriff's department is definitely higher this month.
Can you move it?
Where?
Move the screen?
Is it not scrolling?
I can't scroll.
Is it scrolling through as I scroll, or can nobody see it
No,
scrolling?
No,
it's
What
staying on
the
the
heck?
reserve.
Okay, it's still on the reserve. Okay, I know why.
A good
Hang on.
computer.
Yeah, apparently that good computer guy's not here. Screen. Change that screen to that and share. Okay, here you go.
There we go.
See it now?
Yep.
Okay, as I was saying. Records Force is your digital, right?
That is correct. And I was just going to say, we have actually already received our full payment from the state to cover this expense and to cover the 2,000 for the NEMRIC invoice that we have already paid.
Okay.
Great.
I went through these also. They checked off. They match up to her invoices and everything like I always do.
And you'll see the
Hey, go
IRS.
to, can you guys, let's look at the electric bills here. Whoa.
The actual bills or just the numbers?
Oh, right there.
Okay.
So these numbers on these electric bills. Oh, it's the street lights that are so high.
Yeah.
Streetlights are 269. They've
My
changed those out to LED.
And then my apologies, I don't have my glasses, but the garages seem high.
So you got Main Street garage is 64 and 14 garage is 184.
Okay, yeah, that's probably not bad.
And then streetlights is 269.
Yeah.
Community center is
That's-
127.
But I thought
And Lady Bird
in,
Park.
I thought in the last update on our budget, we were very high on the Main Street garage for some reason.
Meaning the budget that we just went through?
Well, it was I think it was the what David had sent me for my so I could do my budget. He showed me where I was, basically my expenditure report.
We can check on that.
269 Main Street, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you'll see it.
It's actually lower than December. Wait, current year.
I think in terms of where we were for the year, it seemed high.
It's all that
Well,
painting.
December, it looks like we were lower than last year
Yeah.
And November.
and November.
And then it's been pretty marginal.
All year it's been pretty well
Huh.
lower. Just can't see January yet this month, but
No.
Maybe I misread it, but I thought something caught my eye on the electric bills.
that's for Main Street. This is 14. Doesn't give a history on 14. That's nice. Oh, is this it?
Oh,
that's
did
the
it not
streetlight.
see in the back?
No, that's the streetlights.
Oh,
There it is. 14 is pretty close to last same. And yeah, your previous incurrence pretty much the same.
yeah.
Although the rates might have gone up. Maybe that's the problem.
I'll look at my expenditure report that he sent me.
So there's that one. Am I able to bring payroll up on here? Is that a public thing?
I would say the
You're
warrant
muted, you're
is.
muted, Amanda.
I think the warrant is.
The
There's no-
the warrant is, yes.
There's no
Okay.
private information, personal
is no-
information on the payroll.
Okay, well, here's the warrant. Everything's pretty consistent.
So,
Explain the Zach thing again.
yeah, so had a boo-boo last week with with Zachary. I saw 28 hours and for some reason I put in 280 instead of 560. Maybe I thought it was 19.
Oh, for the
But it's
amount
still
to
getting
pay him,
$10
okay.
an hour, I don't know.
Okay, I got it.
So that adjustment was made this week, David?
Yep, it's right here. Oh,
Yes.
you probably can't see it.
Okay,
And I did it separately, so his tax withholding would be equitable.
okay. And when are you moving forward with the every 2 weeks?
I had good intentions of having a date for you tonight, but I got audited. So
Okay.
it probably will be sometime in February.
Give me a heads up and I can tell the guys.
Yeah, I hope to have it by Monday, next Monday.
So that's all we got for warrants. I'll make a motion to approve them and sign it electronically.
So move. Second.
I'll send those out, get them signed electronically like we did last week.
Okay.
With that,
We're,
I think that's it, isn't it?
I think that's it.
Okay.
Amanda, are you going to join us next Monday?
No.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure. But thanks for the invitation. You're on your own now.
Okay, so we really want to, thank you so much for everything you've done for the town and helping try to teach us the proper ways to run a municipality. And we're doing the best we can, and we do thank you very, very much. You're going to be missed.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm sure I'm leaving you in very capable, good hands, though.
Thank you all. It was nice meeting you. Good luck, Amanda.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate your work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, good luck, Amanda. And swing by Mohican Suns on a Sunday for their brunch and definitely save up space, have the cream puffs, have the cream puffs.
And we'll come join you. Are you paying?
No, because the cream puffs are about $20 and they're worth 3 cents.
Wow.
And they are like grapefruit size.
Phew. So how many servings is it, or is it a single serving?
Oh, you don't even want to ask. Don't even ask. Yeah, that's when you're there, you don't ask those things.
Reminds me of a buffet over in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Same type of thing. Okay.
Okay.
See
Good
ya.
luck.
Bye.
Good luck.
Oh, you're hosting.
Oh, I'm host.
You're host.
Okay, I'm gonna give this back to you so you can finish it up.
Oh, you're adjourning?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Hey, we still gonna stick at 6 o'clock meetings?
Wait, we need a motion to adjourn.
Oh,
We did.
we did. Adjourn, motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, there we go.
Ned, sometimes you have to fill in their motions for them.
Yeah, no, I will ignore that. I heard that. I will ignore that. Come on.
Well done.
I still have a dog-eared 1970s version of Robert's Rules of Order.